guys. I'm really excited for today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about grieving the person you used to be. For me, I just went through this. I kind of feel like I had a little bit of a shedding going on. And I'm not going to lie, it was a very challenging, shitty experience, but I'm all the better now for it. Grieving the person you used to be sounds really scary and intense, and it doesn't have to be. I think that we all go through phases in life and we grow out of things. And sometimes you recognize that you grew out of something and sometimes you don't, and you just make a change in your life and it's just the new way you do things. For me, I'm kind of grieving the version of myself that was, I would like to describe her as a little bit more naive and a lot more emotional. I feel like I used to be so open armed to just anybody and everybody, and I used to allow a lot of people to just take my energy no matter who they were to me. And I loved love. I was a very soft girl. I wanted everybody to feel love, and I still am. This is not the part that I grew out of necessarily. It's more something that I've switched and I've transitioned in my life, and I'm executing this in a different way. I feel I used to be so naive and I used to be so trusting of everybody in any situation. And oh, this person would never hurt me. And oh, I'm putting 110% effort with this person and I know that they do it back. No, I feel like I've been taught now in life through really hard lessons that that is not the case. You cannot have expectations for anybody. You don't really know how somebody's going to react or how somebody's going to treat you just because you treat them good. This old version of myself didn't align with me anymore around the time of my 22nd birthday. My life kind of shifted a little bit and I felt really betrayed. It was a time in my life that was extremely difficult to navigate for myself. I was unfamiliar. I felt like I was so honest and I was so authentic and loving and caring, and I truly had somebody just stab me in the back. So I didn't know what to do with myself or how. I couldn't even wrap my head around what had happened just because I didn't want to believe it. The version of me, I was so naive. I just didn't feel like people were capable of doing that to me, or this specific person was capable of doing it to me. But let me tell you, people are capable of a lot more than you think. No matter who you are, no matter you're tied to them, it does not matter. And it's really sad, but it's something that hurt me deeply. And I think that you learn from the hurt and you learn from lessons in your life. And I'm a very sensitive girl and I'm a very loving girl. And I have always done my best to not allow the harsh world to make me harder than I am. I want to be soft and I want to be loving and welcoming and delicate to anybody in my life. I want them to feel endless love and support from me. And I honestly, from a very young age, knew and realized that I wasn't always going to get that reciprocated. Very rarely was I going to get that same energy reciprocated. Maybe I haven't found my people yet, but that has just been my experience. And I took note of it when I was really, really young. And I always made a mental note of just because they're mean, or just because they're not as welcoming or loving, or just because they wouldn't go the extra mile for me, doesn't mean that I want to stop doing that for other people. I didn't want the colder environment of other people to affect how loving I was, because this is something I really liked about myself. I felt like the world needs more love. I feel people are really hurt. I feel like people are a lot more harsh than they need to be. I feel if we all kind of showed each other some grace here and there, it would be a much better world. But I didn't want to be a mirror for the hard things in my life that I had to face for other people. If somebody was being a complete asshole to me, I didn't want to mirror that and be a complete asshole to somebody else just because my experience was negative. I wanted to take that negative experience and still put all of my love and best foot forward for somebody else. I also feel like this really has to do with the fact that I'm a huge empath, so I don't want anybody around me in my life to feel like they go unnoticed or they're unloved or unseen. I really make such an effort to make everybody around me feel so taken care of, so seen, such a major part of my life, and I just love the people I'm around. But the older version of me was doing that for everybody. I don't feel like I had any boundaries. I didn't know tears. Now I can recognize that there's a difference in showing love and kindness to everybody versus making everybody feel like they're the most important person in your life. And that's what I was doing before. That's why I say that the old version of me was naive, because I knew what my goal was. I knew how I wanted the people around me to feel because of me. And I wasn't being careful with my energy, and I was just giving everybody that same energy, and it was really draining for me, and it was really difficult. And also, it led to a lot of internal heartbreak from different people because I feel like I was doing so much for everybody else and not nobody else was reciprocating. And it's not their fault. It's just because I was doing so much for everybody else and I don't know these people. It's like the first time we meet, we're like I would go to war for you, and that's not normal. Like that's not something that I do anymore. I share love and kindness to everybody, but I'm not going to put myself in front of a train for somebody I've just met. That's why I feel like the old version of me was really naive because I wasn't smart about where I was putting my energy, and I was just kind of giving it to anybody and everybody and hoping that it would stick and hoping that through that I would find somebody who would do that same thing for me, but I didn't. I will say, however, that sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I do secretly miss that super carefree version of myself that would pour into everybody else so much. I would find myself in situations where I would be extremely drained because of it, but while I was doing it, I felt so happy and I felt so loving and kind and maternal. And I think being a super sensitive person, being maternal comes very natural to me. And I really feel happy when I feel like I'm taking care of the people around me. I don't know where that necessarily comes from. Maybe it's from the fact that I'm an emotional, sensitive girl. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But I just have always been that way. I love taking care of the people around me. I love being like, I can't wait to be a mom one day. If I have something and you don't, but I don't need it, it's not a necessity, but I'm blessed enough to receive it in my life, and I know it's going to make you happy, I'd love to give it to you. I feel like I used to be a lot more extreme about it and really give like anything and everything I possibly could, which is the naiveness I was talking about. But I think I was very lighthearted at that time. So I'm not going to hold myself to, I'm not going to put myself, in the spotlight about it. But I do miss that moment of just bliss and happiness, and I love that I'm happy helping people. That's genuinely something that makes me happy. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think the way I was going about it was a little bit more negative. I think that my old version of myself that I'm grieving would be shocked if she saw me today with the boundaries that I have and with the way that I'm able to navigate situations or determine how much energy I'm giving into people versus her before. If I met somebody, the floodgates come open and it's just like, oh my God, let me give you everything in the world. Let me love you. Let me take care of you. It was crazy. And I'm not speaking in a romantic way. I'm speaking in a genuinely, I wanted everybody around me to feel like mother is here, you're being taken care of, you don't have to worry about a thing. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know why I have this, but that's just the way I was. And I think that if the older version of me saw myself today, she would be pretty shocked. I feel like I've maintained that same level of kindness and love and generosity, but it's just more reserved for the people I feel who deserve it in my life. I feel like obviously all of this sounds incredibly positive. It sounds like, oh my God, I'm a good person and I care about people and I want everybody to be taken care of. You would be so surprised how isolating and lonely and negative that situation has become and the lessons I've learned from that. I think being naive is sometimes such a blessing, but also it leaves you feeling really drained and exhausted. And I just think overall, genuinely speaking, from that time in my life, the biggest lesson that I learned is to not be ignorant and to not give 100% to everybody. It was really hard for me to see the people that were taking advantage of me versus the people that genuinely just appreciated what I was doing, but also didn't feel the need to reciprocate anything at all. And it really broke my heart. I gave them an inch and they took a mile. I feel like people ran over me, milked me for as much as I would give them, took all my time, all my energy, all my focus and priority where I wasn't focusing or prioritizing myself at all. And that is the biggest thing in my life that's changed. I just think my world revolves around me and your world should revolve around you. And you shouldn't be living a life where you're so drained by giving so much to other people who never show up for you. And that was a really tough lesson for me to learn. Even though I had these negative experiences and it did lead to heartbreak or feeling lonely or all of these things, I don't regret it. I don't regret who I was. I feel like consistently, no matter what happened to me, I know I was a good person and I was genuinely trying to put my best foot forward and I had good intentions for everybody. So I don't regret any part of that era. However, if I could just grab the little version of me by her shoulders, I'd be like, bitch, relax. I literally would, in eye to eye contact, and I would be like, you need to calm the hell down. Like, this is not how you're going to find your people. I felt like, well, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it had to do like growing up, I didn't have a ton of friends. I went through phases with friends and friend groups and stuff like that, but I didn't consistently have a ton of friends. So maybe I felt like I had to really put on my shiniest outfits and perform for somebody to think that I'm good enough to be friends with. And I know that that sounds so sad, but genuinely, I think that that is what it was. And I would just probably give that version of me a hug and tell her to relax. And I would also advise her, I know she wouldn't listen, but I would advise her to get ahead of the curve and start putting all this energy into herself versus other people. Because I've done that now. I've done that now because I was forced to do that, but also it's completely changed my life. And I truly recommend it to anybody who feels like maybe you're giving a lot to other people. Just inch by inch, it's not going to be a day and night change unless you're forced into it the way I was, but inch by inch, just something you would do for them. Maybe don't do it for them, maybe do it for yourself. This is literally a prime example of what I'm talking about. A story just came to my mind that still pisses me off to this day. So, I had this friend who I was at their beck and call constantly. They were out one night at their friends, who were also my old friends. We weren't super close anymore. They went across town and hung out with each other at somebody's house. They all were drinking, underage drinking, don't recommend it. They all were drinking, and she got extremely drunk and she could not drive herself home. So she called me to come pick her up. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, almost midnight, actually. It was almost midnight, and my curfew, I think in high school, my curfew was like 10:30, something like that. I didn't really go out that much, so my parents weren't super strict about it, but it was around 10:30. She's calling me close to midnight, and she's like, I really need you to come pick me up and take me home. Like, I'm having a panic attack. I can't be here anymore. I think she got into a fight with these friends or something happened, and she needed to leave, but she couldn't drive. I literally was like, okay, well, tell me where you are, thinking that she was just at somebody's house nearby. She was 45 minutes away, you guys. 45 minutes across town at an invite I wasn't invited to. I was like, okay. Something inside of me was like, all right. I remember getting in my car and I was like, okay, well, she's drinking. We need to sober her up before she gets home. I stopped at Whataburger. I got her food. I had everything ready for her. Pull up to this random house. It was like this random gated community house thing, like, but it was small houses. It wasn't big houses. It was a very weird situation. It almost looked fake, like a movie set. Like every single house was the same and they were small and they were all one story and they were all like, I don't know, it was so odd. In normal gated communities, they have a little officer box in the front to check you in, check your code, whatever it may be. This one had like a house was the main entrance. And then you had to walk through the front doors of the house and then the gates on the side. It was like weird. I wasn't into it. I pull up and I text her. I go, hey, I'm here. Get your things. Like, don't worry. I got you, all this stuff. She did not respond to me for 30 minutes. I truly thought something had happened to her. I'm blowing up her phone. I was calling, I was texting. I was like, hey, I didn't know which of the houses she was in, so I didn't know where to go to get her. I was just like, hi, like, where are you? Do you need me? Like, blah, blah, blah. I was this freaking close to texting the other people she was with because I did have their phone numbers. We just weren't like friends at the time. And then she texts me back and she goes, hey, yeah, haha, sorry, just wrapping things up, saying bye to everybody. Like nothing happened. Like she didn't just call me from the bathroom 45 minutes ago crying, telling me she's having an anxiety attack, that they're having issues and she wants me to come get her. I was like, okay. Another 10 minutes goes by. She texts me, hey, I actually think I'm going to get a ride home with blank, one of the people she's with. I had now been sitting outside for an hour. And when I saw that text, I was beyond myself. I was so pissed off. It was like almost 1 in the morning. I'm very, like in high school, I was very honest with my parents. I really didn't do anything bad or anything like that. So whenever I would tell my parents that, hey, I have a friend who needs me, like they trust me enough to go be there for my friend. So that, thank God I had that relationship with my parents. And I was like, hey, I'm literally outside. Like, I just drove all the way here. What do you mean? Are you okay? What are you talking about? Like, you're being weird. And they come out to the car and they get in the car and they're like, oh, you got me food. Thank you. And then they just sit in the car and they're like, okay, well, we can go now. Like, I'm a fucking Uber. I was like, excuse me. Okay. But again, that's me now. Me now, I would have kicked them out of my. The whole story gets me so frustrated, but again, like I have to keep reminding myself that was the old version of myself, the naive version of myself. I do not think or feel that way right now. I would have kicked them to the curb. I would have said, "Get the fuck out of my car and bye," and never talk to them again. It's not what I did. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm driving them home. They're eating. We're like light talking. She goes, next time, can you not blow up my phone like that? Everybody thought it was so weird. And then they just like were talking about you a little bit. Oh, okay. Sorry for being a concerned friend. Okay. No, no worries. No big deal. And I go, well, why didn't anybody else take you home? Like, why did you call me? I'm trying to figure out the story because she called me in a panic. Like, seriously, it was just like, you called me in hysterics and I showed up for you as a friend and you're talking shit about me with everybody else because I blew up your phone because you went completely ghost for 30 minutes. I knew you had been drinking. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You are so far away from your house. I was beside myself that she was even like trying to talk or say anything like this to me right now. I was like, okay, cool. What I didn't give a shit. I was so exhausted. I just wanted to go home. We had school the next day. I was like done. They start talking to me about the little fight that the friend group had when they called me. And then they let me know that everything's resolved. They made up whatever and they were all making fun of me for blowing up her phone so much because they thought I was like too attached or whatever it may be. Again, maternal instincts kicked in. I'm like, if I don't answer my phone, if I'm texting my mom like that and then I suddenly go ghost, you bet your ass the SWAT team is going to be outside of my apartment. Like, I'm Middle Eastern. We don't play like that. So that's just how I was raised. So if my friends are texting me and then suddenly they go ghost, like I freak out and I'm worried. Next week or two goes by. We're friendly. Nothing's wrong. Like just talking normally. Like it never even happened, honestly. A few weeks later, I was home alone and I just remember having one of the worst panic attacks of my life. Like boots down, cold sweating, shaking. It was beyond. I was spooked. It was terrifying. I'm texting my friend and I'm like, "Hey, I'm home alone. I'm freaking I like genuinely I'm having one of the worst panic attacks of my life. Like I don't know what you're doing. Can you please like come get me, come be with me? Like I can't be alone right now." They were texting me back, it's okay, like calm down, everything's fine. Let me ask my parents, like blah blah blah, I can come over. They live close enough to me that it would have been a 2 minute drive. I was not even worried about it. I was just like, okay, emergency, like here's somebody that can come to me right now. I don't know where my parents were or where my brother was or whatever it was, but it was a situation that truly like it just had to be one of my friends in nearby neighborhoods or something. Back, they're like, "Hey, my parents aren't letting me leave right now. But just calm down, take some steps, take some water, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I totally understand that. Why would I get mad at somebody for their parents not letting them do something?" I'm trying to calm down myself. It's 10-15 minutes of me just sitting there. I'm not getting a response from them. I'm doing my own thing. I'm trying to self regulate, calm myself down. After 20 minutes, I was back to normal pretty much. They FaceTime me. They're standing in their bathroom, glammed up, looking like they're about to go out. And I can hear people in the back. I'm like, "Are you at a party right now?" They said no. The friend group that they were with a few weeks ago was at their house hanging out. And they go, "I just felt like if I FaceTimed you in front of them, that would have been really embarrassing for you." When I tell you that was the last time I was friends with this person, I literally was just like, uh, Like, if you needed me, I was there for you at the drop of a hat. You could have told me you were in a different city. I would have driven to come pick you up, take care of you, because that's who I am. But then the second I needed you, you can't show up, but then you can hang out with your other friends. And then the worst part of it all, I was like, okay, well, what are you guys doing? We're about to go out. I thought your parents didn't didn't want you to go out. I thought that you couldn't leave the house. I got lied to straight in my face. And that's the naiveness of like, you cannot trust anybody. You cannot expect people to show up for you the same way that you show up for them. I learned a big, huge lesson right there. And I'm no longer friends with that person. Thank God. That story still pisses me off to this day because it's just like, I feel bad for my younger self. I feel bad for that version of me because that sort of situation where I go out of my way for somebody and it's not reciprocated happened to me a lot. It really did. And it's not that I blame other people. I honestly think it was my mistake for, again, making my entire schedule wrapped around who my friend was that week and what they needed from me, and not even asking or making room for me to need something from them. It was like I wanted to do everything for them and then I put myself second and I'm neglected. And then it's just like, it was a tough situation. And I am happy that I'm in a place where I don't look back at that time of my life and I feel like shit about myself. I'm not angry with myself. I'm not upset that I did those things. I think that that's genuinely how I wanted to be and I chose to act with all intention. And I think that that's important. If you're going through something right now where you feel like you're letting go of a past version of yourself, try to give yourself grace. I know that that can be hard because sometimes we have stories like this that are a little bit embarrassing and we're just like, how did you not see the signs? Um, but you just need to, we grow and we learn and we evolve. And the point is that you are not in that same space that you were, and that's a positive. So even though maybe in the past you acted in ways that don't align with you today, at least you are making an effort to be better today. And I think that that's important. So don't beat yourself up over things that you did in the past. Genuinely, just you have to laugh at yourself a little bit and let go and just move on. This was a little bit of a chatty episode. I wonder how long that this is going to be. But I have a 10-hour flight that I'm about to get on, so I'm going to edit this on the flight. I am going on my very first brand trip. I'm shocked. It's international. It's crazy. I cannot wait. I'm going to try and get a podcast in. I'm going to try my absolute best to film a podcast episode while I'm there. Hopefully I can. I don't know if it's going to happen, but next week we are going to debrief about my first ever brand trip and I'm going to tell you guys everything. But I love you so much and thank you so much for watching. You are one of my newfound joys and passions and loves. But I love you guys so incredibly much. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope that we can all keep learning and keep growing together. And I will see you next week for the debrief. I am so excited. I think actually obviously by the time this episode comes out, you guys will know where I am if you keep up with me on socials, if you're cool like that. But if not, socials are linked below. And I'm going to fucking Paris. Bonjour, oui, oui. I'm out of here. I don't know how this is my life. I'm so thankful. I love you guys so much. And I will talk to you next week. Bonne nuit. No, that's good night. How do you say bye in French? Bye in French. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Au revoir. That wasn't even any. That wasn't better. Au revoir. Au revoir. Okay, I love you, and I'm going to see you next week. Bye.